Hi everyone, it is me, Osset, once again here at the Goddess Inside with my dear friend Normandi Ellis, and it's always good to see you, Normandi.
It's always good to see you. I'm hugging you right now.
I'm hugging you back. So today we've been talking about the nine spiritual bodies, and we've talked about the Khat, we've talked about the Kaibit, and today we're talking about the SAHU. So the SAHU, as we see here on the hieroglyph card, it has the symbols for that. And the Sahu is a spiritual body that, if in our terms today, we can think of it as our own higher self. It's that ascended master part of our being that knows everything consciously, but that we may not be always tapped into consciously. So it ends up being in our subconscious mind. And sometimes when we meditate, we can access this part of ourself, this inner knowing that will remind us of the bigger picture or the wisdom or ways in which we're show us ways in which we're focused on too many of the little parts that really don't matter in the big scheme of things. And it can help us to, by tapping into our own Sahu, it can help us to realize how we need to better approach a situation that's happening in our life from a place of what we might call taking the high road, to where we don't get down into the mire and in the muck of um, jealousy or control issues or trying to manipulate a situation. I mean, these are all very human responses to things that go on in our lives. But if we can just stop for a moment and take a breath, which I love is part of the hieroglyph that Normandy is going to talk about within the Sahu, if we can take a breath, then, take 5 breaths before you make a decision. Then this is a way that you can tap into how to approach the situation from a place of higher wisdom and embody your higher self and that ascended master within you. So, Normandy, you were showing us the card. So, go ahead and share with us a little bit more about that who part and your own thoughts on the Sahu.
Okay, sure. Saw, it's actually a word that's two words put together. Saw has to do with the mind, the wisdom, the knowledge, the intelligence. And the who has to do with the breath, like when you breathe out. Okay, so when you are meditating and you are consciously doing breath meditations, and there's a number of different ways to do breath meditations, but you are activating, it's almost like you're using a bellows to work with the fire, the inner fire within yourself to create this brighter illumination, this wisdom. It is a talent that we have to acquire through practiced meditation over and over and over. And then, it's like how long the Buddha had to sit beneath the Bodhi tree before he became enlightened. Took a long time. And once he became an enlightened being, he was a Sahu. He was an ascended master. And not that we are all ascended masters, but we are tapping into that knowledge every now and then where we can access some of what is the potential out there of what the Theosophists would call our the angels of our higher nature. Okay, so that's kind of another idea of thinking about that. If you're looking at the tarot card, the hermit probably best exemplifies that Sahu quality because he stands at the top of the mountain and he's holding the lantern for others to look up to gaze up to light the path for them. And when we are working in our higher ascended selves, that is what we do. We light the path for other people. And of course, there's many more behind us as we go up and up and up. But I think last time we talked about Kaim Wast and his Kaibet trying to take uh, the book of knowledge or the book of spells from the kibet of the person in his grave. Khan actually in the stories becomes an enlightened being, and over a period of time of confronting his shadow and of taking it in and of working with higher energy and with the God source, he is able to move beyond his very human desires and to become a model for Egyptians to follow. In fact, he became very much um, uh, sort of like a legend, all his own. He would have been a pharaoh had his father not lived to be 990s. But Kamwatst was Ramsey the Great's fourth son, and he is legendary in Egypt. He did a lot of work in Saqqara, and there are many, many tales about him as a magician. And so that's what we're thinking of. Like, you could also think of this as shamanic flight, where you're able to let your higher self go and find that spark and bring back that lost piece and integrate it into yourself.
Yes, and I love when you talk about finding that lost piece, because the Sa portion of that, also there's the god Sa, who the ancients believed was that star in the heavens, which also equates with, in later times, it was also equated with Osiris. So there's a lot of wisdom there. Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom there to be remembered and to put back together in your own life, so that your daily life and your everyday life here in this human existence can be whole and fulfilled, and that where you're operating at your highest potential at all times. And I think the last time too we talked about the kybit, and how it's a part of the shadow, and how we can't see that without the light, and how we're always trying to bring our shadow into the light. So that's something that our SAHU is always doing for us, is to work with our kybit to bring it along, like I said, so that we can operate at our highest potential and take the high road in our life situations in which we would maybe tend to not do so, in general, without that knowledge or that mindfulness. So,
There's
um,
something I learned recently, which is whenever you're confronted with your karma, like your shadow pops up and is about to bite you, you should look at it and say, what a blessing, because that's how you move into your higher self. And so every time something happens that you wish had not happened, you take it as a blessing because it's there so that you can work it and move it up. And doing this is kind of like that spiral also that's in that card. It keeps moving it up the ladder.
yeah, yeah. So that might be an interesting visual for meditation, is to sit within that spiral, so that you can feel the energy of your being ascending up into your own Sahu and that of the ascended masters and your guides and angels. So thank you for sharing all of your wisdom with us today, Normandy.
Well, thank you for sharing yours, Osset. I'm so happy to be here with you.
I love doing these videos, and I hope that you all are enjoying them as well, and that you're being able to learn more about the Egyptian mysteries, their thought processes, and ways in which you can pull all of this magic into practical uses in your life today, because that's, I think, what it's all about. So, as we've said before, Normandy and I are always teaching online. You can check out all of our links below. For Normandy, for me, the book you can buy, Normandy's book that talks about the different cards that we're holding up and ways in which you can work with them. Those are also available on our websites. And of course, if you want to go to Egypt with us, which we know that you do, be sure to go to twoladiestravelco.com, fill out the form, check out our dates, check out all the details, and get signed up to join us. So until
Sounds
next
good.
time, yes. Until next time, as always, may you enjoy everything about today.
Blessings.